So I had a bit of a problem with getting the connects2 fascia to fit. Essentially something on this edge, closest to the glove box here, was lifting the head unit out, or lifting the fascia out. And of course that was pivoting on this side, so it was lifting up slightly on this side as well, so it wasn't quite sitting flush. And I kind of cut away some of the internals of the dash behind the stereo to see where the problem was, and I kind of cut a nice big square, and I was still having the same problem. So that brought me to this area here. So I don't know if it's the same on earlier Civics, because I've seen people fitting these and they don't seem to have any problem. I don't know if they redesigned this bracket here that comes off the bulkhead and essentially supports this side of the dash. It has this bolt with a washer on it, and when that is in there, it essentially, this edge here blocks this edge of the fascia and the stereo from actually going in. So what I did was I took the bolt out and bent the bracket slightly inwards, and then I took a hacksaw. Well, sorry, what I did first was just put a bit of masking tape. Before I did any of that, I put a bit of masking tape along this edge because I knew that the problem was kind of on this side. And immediately I had a deep indentation in the masking tape along the edge of where the bracket started. So I knew that that was where the problem was. So I bent the bracket inwards slightly using a pair of vice grips. As you can see, the hole is not quite perfectly aligned with the hole on the dash anymore. And cut with a hacksaw and filed away a further amount of internal trim in the dashboard, but also a small amount of the bracket, which I hacksawed away as well on the edge there. And now when I put the stereo in place, sorry, I'm holding my phone to do this so I can get a great view until it's actually in. I don't want to rush it, but essentially you'll get the gist once it's in. Get it in its clips, and essentially now, when it's kind of pushed in, and when it will be screwed down at the top there, this essentially now is sitting flush. Not on this side, because it still needs to be pulled down by the screw, but it is essentially now sitting flush, whereas before it was proud, it was kind of poking up above the surface. I've also been told, what I'm going to do is put a little M8 bolt, I think it's M8, get a little M8 bolt and just pop that in instead, because the washer gets in the way. Even when you've trimmed the bracket down, the washer gets in the way and prevents the head unit from going into its hole. So I'll put that little M8 bolt in there to make sure that the dash is secure and doesn't sort of move around. I mean, the washer is neither here nor there. I mean, it's soft plastic anyway, so I don't think it matters too much. Also, I have been told it's a good idea to take the original metal clips from the old factory stereo and put them onto the new clips on the Connects fascia. So there's 6, I think. There's these little clips, but they don't have the little metal brackets on them. So based on the hole size on the dash, these holes here, these little rectangle holes, it's a better idea to pull off the metal tongs, essentially, or tangs from the original clips on the stereo, and put them onto the new fascia to make sure it's sort of held in place securely. I will do that when it comes to final fitting, but I'm hoping that this will help some people, because I've found very little on the internet based. I've seen a lot of people have the same problem, particularly with the later model Mk8 Civic. But that is the problem area. It's the bracket and the bolt that get in the way. So if you remove the bolt with a washer, that little bastard there, and replace it with an M8 after you bend the bracket out of the way and trim the trim there. The fascia should go in and sit beautifully flush with the dash. It's nothing wrong with the fascia. It's nothing to do with warped or poorly manufactured fascias. It is just the design of the car, and obviously possibly with certain head units this is a problem. I don't know if it's a problem with all head units. This is a Pioneer double din head unit. I don't know if that's slightly bigger or whatever, and that's what's creating the problem, but the problem has now been solved. So I hope this helps someone, and I'm going to crack on and get the rest of the car back together, because the center console and armrest are still out, but the back's all back together. In terms of the speakers, everything looks great. Everything's working beautifully. I've got some foam in there because that pocket rattles, even though of course I sound deadened the doors. The pocket of the door still rattles. So in here I've got some junk which seems to stop it and absorb the vibration, but there I've just got a little bit of vibration. I'm also thinking about putting a bit of foam in the mirrors to stop them from vibrating and kind of making that horrible plasticky sound, because I'm getting a bit of that on the outside of the car. But otherwise this job's gone quite well. It's taken 8 days to do the car, sound dead and replace all the speakers, and now I've figured out the problem with the fascia. I should be able to get this car back together fully today, and hopefully yeah, I'll be cruising around by this afternoon.